We're going to actually hear from our very own naturopath, who's going to deliver a presentation entitled A Nation in Crisis, okay? Now, Dr. Prince, this is a lot of the training you've actually given us. You've not even seen the slides yet because he had a problem with the computer, so I apologize, but this is what he's taught us, right? So we just kind of recapped some of the information we've learned from Dr. Prince so that each one of you coaches can take this same information and do your own workshop. Would you like to do your own workshop in Boston, right? In Indiana, right? In California, all across the country, guys? Back in North Carolina, right? South Carolina, okay. New York, right? We have New York in the house. Indiana in the house, right? We have Chicago in the house. Who's Chicago? Guys, our Zoom is up to 108 people. Let's give it up for Zoom. 108 people on the line right now. Dr. Prince, we are super honored that he's here today. Guys, let me tell you something. He wasn't going to be here because at 53 years young, guess what he is doing? He is preparing for his next world champion. He's right now racing every weekend with college students who are at the top of their game, and he's hanging with them. How many of y'all at 53 want to hang with them, right? I mean, I can't even hang with the 3-year-old, right? We got, right? It's like in the house, right? The grandchild. It's like, oh my goodness. So you are doing it big. He decided that today was so important to be here. Also, he needed some muscle recovery too, right? But I think we gave him a good excuse. I think he probably would have went had we not had this event. So he said, listen, I'm going to be at the event. We just got that hot off the press last night that he was going to be here. So super excited about that. But this is someone who means so much to us because he's taught us so much about how to live a better life. He taught us about the bioscan, you know, the cleanse. How many of you have completed his 21-day cleanse? How many of you have had life-saving things that happen for you or family members because of the cleanse, right? I mean, it is changing and saving lives across this country. He is a naturopath. He's helped thousands of people all across the country reverse chronic disease. He is an expert and the authority when it comes to nutrition. And I'm telling you what, folks, at 53, when you're running at the collegiate level, whatever he has to say today, I want to take notes and listen, right? So I need everybody on your feet. Let's give it up for Dr. DrEricPrince. This is make sure we say hi to them and look at them sometimes, right?
I'll look at
and to move your slides, it's real simple. You're just gonna move them like that. You got it? Just this is back, that's forward.
Hey, that's okay. I can roll with this.
Okay. So take it away. The floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. Get settled. And you're right. This is going to be some good information. I'm truly honored to be standing here because I've been seeing this vision for about a decade. But you guys understand how John the Baptist was, right? He was someone crying in the wilderness. Do you know what it feels like to cry in the wilderness? That means that you have all this good information and you're trying to share this information, but nobody's listening. You know you have the ability to help people to make some changes in their life, but everybody's stuck on what they're doing in life. So guess what happened? God had to help out. God had to allow a pandemic to happen, because after that pandemic, everybody started changing their perspective and their priorities. And what became their number one priority? Health. It wasn't just about that money anymore. But before that pandemic, it was more about the money. Now it's about the health, because without your health, can you make money? No. Unless you got some investments down the line, but still those investments are connected to people that are using their body to make money. So if your health starts to deteriorate at some point, if you just invested, your investments might start to fall, because the people that are making money for you are also dealing with health issues. So you can't get away from the health. I always tell people your health is your, see? So let's start off. You guys can see, okay, great. In 2020, nearly 700,000 people died from cardiovascular disease. Do you believe that? Yeah. So that makes heart disease what? The number one cause of death in America. Did you know that? Yeah. What's second? What's the second leading cause of death? Cancer. We know that, right? So we know heart disease is one. We know cancer is number two. Do you know what number three is?
Iatrogenic.
You know, don't say nothing. Okay. A lot of you don't know this, and you need to know this because this is why a country is in crisis. This is why your country is in crisis. I'm about to tell you why your country is in crisis. Because the third leading cause of death in America is medical error and medical treatment. I kid you not. If you Google right now, type in third leading cause of death in Google, it will say medical error, medical treatment by Johns Hopkins University, which is a very reputable university. Why am I telling this? Because you need to understand that you've been trusting your life to the third leading cause of death in America. And you wonder why we're in a crisis? We're in a crisis because of ignorance. I'm not a gambler, but I'm clear that that's not a good gamble right there. So if we don't do anything, then we're going to perish in helplessness. They call it learned helplessness, where we're watching our loved ones go down the drain and we can't do nothing about it. All we do is hand our health off to who? The medical doctor. We were trained to hand off our health to the medical doctor. So we're conditioned to trust in the medical system. But if the medical system is the third leading cause of death in America, then why are we trusting our life to those statistics? You understand? Do you feel what I'm talking about? I'm passionate about this because you can't continue to think that you're going to be healthy and live well if you're putting more poisons in your body. The whole purpose of this program is to, one, move you back to what I call pre-Genesis or pre-flood days. Before the flood, how long were we living? According to scripture. Before the flood, how long? We were living, right, we were living centuries, correct? Test. Who was the oldest recorded, according to scripture, living person in the Bible? Methuselah. How long did Methuselah live? About 968. So he almost made it to 1,000, right? Almost made it to 1,000. He was still having children at 700. I'm helping men in their 60s to try to even get it up again. I saw that laugh. But what I'm saying is this, not to do it in a jokingly way, but it is. If we're living to 300 and 400 and still having children, then what's happening to us that's not allowing us to be able to produce like that in our 60s and our 70s? You see, so we have to begin to change the paradigm of how we see the world. And the program is about changing the paradigm. So last weekend, when I went to Grand Valley State University, I ran the 600 meters and I ran the 200 meters. I usually run those indoor so I can have a stronger 400 meters outdoor. So when I got to the line, I'm looking at all these kids. I was the only black, for one, in that heat. Not only I was only black, but I was the only guy 30 years older than all of my competitors. They didn't treat me any different, and I didn't feel different. I felt like I was back in my prime. And sure enough, I stayed with them through that whole race. I didn't win the race, but I didn't come in last. So I took some kids out in route. And that's a big thing for me because I'm building up to masters. Masters are people my age. When I run against men my age, obviously, I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the nation. But that's not enough for me because I already know that men in their 40s and 50s aren't doing this type of stuff per se. You do have a small group across the country and across the world. But the reason I run with kids that are 30 years younger than me is because when you do the age reversal process, which is also the flat belly cleanse, you're not reversing your chronological age. You're reversing your biological age. You can actually get younger. Now, what that means is that where were you at your best age? Give me some numbers. When you was at your best age, at your prime, when you was running, jumping, and there were no pain, no aches, what was that age? 32, 25, 23, 5. That's my son over there, you guys. That's my 9 years young vegan son. I talk about him a lot. So hold on. All right, there we go. So an alarming number of our 14 to 19 years young are showing up as much as 40% blocked arteries. Now, what they're saying here is that I've scanned 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and what was shocking to me was that they were already showing plaque buildup on their coronary arteries. They were already showing borderline diabetes. Now, I had heard that this is the first generation of children that may not outlive their parents. Now, I didn't believe that at first until I started doing the scan and I started seeing it with my own eyes. Our children are degenerating faster than their moms and their dads. That means that they're going to experience disease at an early age. 20 for them is like 40 for us. Kids are now dealing with degenerative disease at a younger age. Now, check this out. The parents, which you're the parents. The reason that the children may not outlive the parents is because the parents are waking up. They're tired of the system, which is in crisis. And guess what they're doing? They're reversing their biological age. So you know what's happening? The parents are biologically getting younger as the kids are chronologically getting older and biologically getting older. So you're passing your children on your way back to your youth. They're young. They think that they have a lot of time, but they don't have time because as they see you getting younger, you're now able to do the things that they're not going to be able to do when they're in their 30s, but you're doing it in your 60s and your 70s. It's going to be a weird paradigm shift in the future. That's why when I get on the track, what am I? I'm the image, I'm the symbol and the example of what's going to happen in the future. Where you're going to have men in their 60s, 70s jumping on the line in cross country, jumping on the line in the Olympics, jumping on the line in football, baseball, basketball. There's not going to be another age limit because it's about your biological age now. How long does it take your body to fully regenerate? 300, he said 365. He said, my son said 10 years. See, he's been listening to me. This is important. And he's right. It takes about 10 to 15 years for you to develop a brand new body. What does that mean, guys? That means that it's biologically impossible to be older than 10 or 15 years of age. It's impossible to be older than 10 or 15 years of age because you have all new cells in your body. You see what I'm saying? So if you're acting like you're in your 70s and 80s, that's not because you're 70 years old. That's because you're 70 years molding, 70 years rusting, 70 years degenerating, but that's not aging. That's a process that we know now you can reverse. If you get rid of the toxins, the waste, the poisons, you start changing your diet, start exercising, guess what? You have the ability to now go back to your youth. That's what this is all about. Do you know the significance of age 45 for African Americans? What's the significance? You are now twice as likely to die from heart disease than anything else. Let me say something. David, King David in the Bible was a man after what? His heart. As a man thinketh in his what? So is. What is the scripture trying to tell us? That heart is our connection to God. If heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America, that is a threat to our relationship to God. You cannot develop a powerful, strong relationship without having your heart in good health. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me explain why our hearts are going bad. And I want you guys to take this to heart. No pun intended. What have we all been eating since we were younger besides my son? What was your favorite meat? Chicken, turkey, lamb. I had lamb a few times. Anybody ate frog legs? Deer, goat, raccoon. We ate. Right. If we was in China, we'd be eating bats, right? Now, don't judge me. I love chitlins. I love chitlins. Don't judge me. I don't eat it no more. But if I could have gotten away with it, I probably would have just been a vegan chitlin eater. But I don't think y'all would listen to me if I was still eating chitlins. But what is chitlins? Chitlins is intestines. What travels through intestines? Doo-doo. Now, I don't care how much you clean chitlins. Doo-doo has been traveling through them intestines for a long time. There's still going to be some doo-doo in it when you eat it. And maybe even a few parasites. What am I saying? I'm saying that I want you guys to take out your phone. I'm going to have you do a little research. Online, I want you to take out your phone and do this. I want you to look up the temperature, the body temperature of cow or a chicken. Look up the body temperature of a cow or chicken. Let's do cow for beef. Look up the body temperature of a cow. What's the cow's body temperature? What is the cow's body temperature? And then let me know.
102 degrees Fahrenheit.
102 degrees Fahrenheit. Is it, y'all see that? 102. I want somebody to look up the body temperature of a fish.
40 degrees Fahrenheit.
40 degrees?
Yeah.
Now, a fish body temperature is less than, well, let me ask you this. What's your body temperature? So you're in the middle of seafood and terrestrial animals. This is what you got to understand. This is so important. If terrestrial animals' body temperature is at 100 and 102, and yours is at 98.6, your body temperature is not sufficient enough to break down the proteins and the oils of those animals because their proteins and oils are stable at that higher body temperature. You get that? Well, and if you go to the health food store, you see fish oil in the health food store. Why? Because their body temperature is lower than the human body temperature. You get it? So when you eat fish, you're less likely to be dealing with heart disease than if you're eating heavier animals. This is science. So take the subjective charge out of this. I know that because we've been eating animals all our life that it's associated with family, it's associated with friends, it's associated with frat, it's associated with all different environments. So it's not just about the food, it's the emotions that keeps us connected to the food that's killing us. So take the emotional charge out of it, look at it objectively. I'm giving you objective information that you can research yourself. The heavier animals were never designed by God for humans to eat. And I'm saying this because that's the reason why heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America. We're all educated. We should understand this. Let us reason together. If I could save a life right now, which is why I figure out that's why I'm here, then this is my best purpose for being here. Forget the track meet. I could run that another day, another week. But God wanted me to be here to give the message that, hey, we need to stop eating like our parents. We need to accept him. He's eating like me. So, but if you train a child in the way he should go, he should not depart, right? But if you train a child in the way they shouldn't go, they're having problems departing. You see, it's more of an addiction now. So we have to break the addiction. And how do we do that? Cleansing and detoxification. That's how you break the addiction. Now, let me add this to it. You cannot consciously correct your issue on the same level that you unconsciously created it. In other words, you can't do this by yourself because it's your personality that created the health issues that you have. So you need a coach. You need somebody to help pull you across, to override your bad habits. And you have to welcome a mentor. There's not one millionaire out there that didn't have a mentor that helped them to get to $1 million. And then the millionaire had a billionaire mentor that helped them get to $1 billion. You got to have a mentor. You got to have a coach. If we're going to change the world and we're going to correct the crisis, we have to have wellness coaches. We have to have medical doctors. Hey, Sharon, do me a favor, look up the quote by Thomas Edison concerning the doctor of the future. Milk. How many of you guys drink dairy milk? Show of hands. How many of you guys online drink dairy milk? And it's okay. Now, let me ask you this. Now, that's drinking dairy milk. How many of you guys eat bread, pasta, all that stuff? You're still drinking milk because a lot of milk is in that stuff. Unless you're turning the box around and looking at the box, at the bottom it's always going to say milk. So if you're not looking at that, then you're always intaking milk. Now look what's happening with milk. Got mucus. Dairy products produce mucus, and often the body will develop a cold or allergies to fight the dairy invasion. What did I just say? Your body is going to develop a cold and an allergy to fight the milk. So your body is working in your favor to fight the milk. What do we do in ignorance? We're going to fight the cold. You see how we've been trying? That's why we're in crisis, because everything we're supposed to do, we've been turned against nature. You cannot win against nature because you cannot win against God. Your body, I haven't had a cold in so long, I don't even know what it feels like. You know why? Because once I stopped all that dairy, my body don't need to create a cold. I don't need allergies because I'm not doing dairy. Anyone that had asthma, when I took them off dairy, guess what? The asthma attacks, all of that subsided. What was I saying? The asthma was responding to the dairy. So Mother Nature is no fool. All species, including ours, have just what we need to get by. She did not intend for grown-ups to suck their mother's breast until they're 21. This is funny, y'all. This is funny. Do you know right now, bodybuilders online are ordering breast milk? They're ordering breast. You know why? Because of the steroid content. The steroids in the milk, they're undetectable. My son, I put him on breast milk for 3 years. I supported his mom for 3 years while he was walking to her breasts with teeth. At some point, it had to stop. I would have had him going already, but he never dealt with asthma. My other daughter, my oldest daughter, she dealt with asthma, didn't have breasts. She wasn't breastfed. But another thing we're not going to get into, we didn't vaccinate him. We didn't poke him with all these poisons in the beginning because his immune system was not developed. Babies' immune systems are not developed. And so that's the reason why God gave women breasts, because in that breast milk is the immunization that the child needs in order to have a healthy body. So if you're not breastfeeding the children and you're giving them Similac and all that other stuff, and you're sticking them with vaccines, then you can expect asthma and maybe autism, which is another form of mental retardation. And I'm not gonna scare you with the statistics on autism because it will blow your mind. So anyway, we are the only species on the planet that drinks the milk of another species. All this contributes to a greater risk of cancer because cancer cells thrive in acidic conditions. You got to get this part. Tune into what I'm about to tell you because a lot of people don't know this. All this contributes to a greater risk to cancer because cancer cells thrive in an acidic condition. What are you telling me, Dr. Prince? Milk causes acidity in the body. You know what happens when your body becomes acidic? And the coaches will tell you, what kind of pH do you have with an acidic body? Below 7. What does your body do when your body is acidic in order to try to balance that acidity? It pulls calcium out of the bones. So in other words, the milk that's creating mucus in your body and causing an acidic environment causes your body to leach calcium in order to raise the pH of your body, because your body believes in life over limb. You'll lose a limb, but it'll save your life. So in other words, milk actually causes you to lose calcium. We thought that milk does your body good. But it turns out that milk is the opposite. And Sharon will tell you, because Sharon, when she did a bioscan, she was dealing with moderate osteoporosis and bone loss. But Sharon will tell you that that's all she drank was milk. Her father told her he was going to buy her a cow because she drank so much milk. With all the milk that she drank, she should not have been dealing with osteoporosis. What I'm telling you is that I'm giving you the evidence that what we've been doing has been all wrong, which is why we're in a crisis. We're the answer, you guys. Everyone sitting here, we're the answer. We got to take this seriously because, one, my life is on the line. My predecessors are no longer here because they spoke out against the powers that be. So I want to teach you as fast as possible while I'm on this planet. Now, don't get me wrong. I plan on being on the planet a few hundred years and having children at 300. Probably even running track. You're looking at me crazy. Meat. Meat is the decomposing, decaying, and rotten flesh of a dead animal. Did you know that? But you know what's funny is that we go through the meat section. We have no sensitivity whatsoever to the dead animals that are laying in those packages. Because you know what? We had no frame of reference. If you grew up eating animals, you thought that that was just the norm. It's not until you see the contrast. Ask a fish, try to explain water to a fish. Are they going to understand what you're talking about? No, because they don't have a contrast. As soon as animals die, it starts to break down. The restaurants and ranchers may call their meat aged to perfection, but no matter how you slice it, it is a putrefying corpse. You are what you eat. Let's talk about another myth. It is a complete myth that we need a massive amount of protein. Too much protein, especially animal protein, impairs your kidneys, leach calcium, zinc, vitamin B, iron, magnesium from our bodies, and it causes osteoporosis, heart disease, cancer, obesity. In addition, high amounts of protein can cause damage in our tissues, organs, and cells, which leads to faster aging. People in other countries consume half the amount of protein that we do, yet they live longer and healthier. So I already told you that the reason this happens is because human beings weren't designed to eat meat. Now, stay with me on this. Before the flood, we were living hundreds of years, right? Centuries. After the great flood, you didn't hear about people living centuries anymore. Why? What came into our diet after the great flood? Meat. We were not eating meat before the great flood. That's why we were living centuries. When we started eating animals after the great flood, the lifespan of man shortened. This is a biblical account. See, this is how you use your mind to comprehend. Because wait a minute, we were living hundreds of years. What were we eating before the great flood? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, all the healthy stuff. Do we have acidic bodies? Nope. That means that our bodies were more alkaline before the flood. When we started eating meat, what? Our bodies became more acidic. You see the contrast? How many dialysis places are in your community? Too many. They're popping up like McDonald's. I was thinking about getting me one, but I said, you know what? That's wrong. I would be causing the problem and not being the answer. But meat is shutting down your kidneys. And we know this from the bioscan. We also know that meat is making your body acidic and causing osteoporosis. We know this from the bioscan. Why am I saying it? The bioscan was a God gift to me and was a God save for us. I did not know what I was getting when I got that scan. But once I started studying it and I learned what it was telling us, I realized that this was the answer to reversing the condition. Question.
What a great flood. Where did they get their water from? Because they couldn't drink out the ocean.
Good question.
That's a good question. But you didn't stump me. I don't care whose son you are. If you remember in scripture, it had not rained like that ever, which is why they didn't believe Noah. They didn't believe Noah when Noah said that there was a flood coming. That's why they was looking at him like he was crazy. You know why? Because the ground was watered from it was watered from the ground up in a mist. There wasn't rain coming down like that. It was a mist coming up. So the question is, did they really even need to drink water if the environment was so moist and tropical like that? That's another thing. Ask a breatharian. Does he need to really drink much water or even eat any food? God said, as the days of a tree, so shall be the days of my people. Trees live how long? How long do animals live? Not that long. I eat from a tree. What do you eat from? You see what I'm saying? Logic and reasoning. So
I'm doing the wrong one.
I hear you on there. We hear you. Don't be cussing nobody out when we're on live. We live.
Okay, so.
I can hear you cooking chicken back there. Don't you know we're talking about meat right now? That's indecency.
And then will you be able to make this be like on the cuffs?
I can do that.
Okay.
All right, y'all had to mute yourself, you guys.
Yeah, that's one of my questions. Were you saying that
Wait,
as a stand counter, or were you saying it as jewelry?
What was the question?
It's a stand counter. Well, that's jewelry.
All right, we're moving on. Oh, what happened?
That picks up that same.
You got a
It's
question?
stand counter.
Mhm.
You got a question or are you just talking?
And then I didn't know if that was, I think that was gonna be enough to make.
Oh, look, yeah, they just
I
talk.
brought that back from
All right, so anyway,
years
you
ago.
don't need that much protein.
Honored her by doing something with it.
So when it comes to how much protein you need, normally about maybe 40 grams a day. If you're not a bodybuilder like my brother is. And I just want to acknowledge my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, my brother back there, Willie Mooney, and my frat brother I just met today, who's about to become a vegan bodybuilder. He don't know it yet. Stand up for a second, man, and pose for him. Bust a pose. Damn. That's how big this roll. You know what I'm saying? I will bring him up here, you guys, but I'll wait till later. And it's a blessing because, man, you know, bringing the brothers into this is what we need to do. The Black man has to help correct this crisis. You know, it's been a long time dealing with slavery where our relationship with the Black woman was a struggle because the Black woman had looked to us for protection. And we couldn't give you protection. We couldn't protect our children. They were taken from us. And so even though you understood what was going on, it was still this subconscious feeling like, you know, that insecurity, like he can't even take care of me. And that goes into our genetics. That goes into our DNA, and that DNA is passed on to generation and generation. And we wonder why we don't have good relationships now, because of the inability of the Black man to support and defend and protect the family. So this is much bigger than just our health. This is restoring the family back to its unity. Because at one point we were priests and priestesses, we were kings and queens. Now we're just like peasants. No respect, getting killed by the police all the time, disrespected. And we ain't gonna talk about the prison population because that's overwhelming. So hold on. Hey, Melissa. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. I got it. Okay, so let me get these people off here. All right, hold on. I saw a question back there. I'm going to get to you in a second, okay? I'm just trying to. Get these, okay, Melissa, how do you get this off here, participant? It's this, oh, y'all don't even see it. Okay. Right, because on mine, it has a little thing on there. All right, cool. When I run internationally, I run for Team USA. This was my first world championship. I did okay, but then I came back the following world championship because they do it every 2 years. This was in 2009. In 2011, ironically, that's when I did my first bioscan. You know why I did my first bioscan? because I was having chest pressure. I didn't understand why in 2011 I was having chest pressure. It didn't make sense. You know why? Because I was vegan since 04. So I changed my diet, but then I started back running in 09. Why was I having chest pressure in 2011? That did not make sense to me. That's because I was still running on a subconscious program. See, if you don't, you can change as much on the outskirts as you want, but if you don't change that program that's running in your subconscious, you're going to keep moving towards heart disease and a heart attack despite what you're doing outwardly. This is the reason, this is the main reason why the bioscan is so important, because guess what the bioscan does? It helps to shift your paradigm. It helps to disconnect you from the old program. One of the laws of energy is that an object continues moving in a direction until it's acted upon by an opposing force. In other words, the bioscan was the opposing force that let me know that I had plaque buildup in my coronary arteries. If I had not done my bioscan and I would have kept pushing myself, I would have dropped dead in 2011. That's what happened. That's what's happening to a lot of athletes. Well, not now, this is different. But I'm saying back then, I would have pushed myself. When I did my own bioscan and I saw that I had plaque buildup, and I know how significant it was because my grandmother on Thanksgiving in 1979, she died from a heart attack. So I was predisposed to heart disease, and I was moving towards it despite being vegan, despite running track. I was about to have a heart attack. When I did my own bioscan for the first time, I started to act and move with intention. The bioscan gives you intention. The power of intention is the key to healing your body. When you know what's going on in your body, you can now use your mind to direct the healing energy. If you don't know what's going on in your body, the mind doesn't know where to direct the energy, because you don't know you have a fatty liver. You don't know you have protein in your urine and uric acid in your kidney. You don't know this. If you don't know this, then how can you direct your mental energy? And why is that important? Because the placebo effect, you know what the placebo effect is, right? That's if I give you a sugar pill and tell you it's going to take your blood pressure down. And guess what? It takes your blood pressure down. Now, but it was just a sugar pill. So what really took your blood pressure down? They know this. But guess what they're doing? They're giving you a suggestion, which is an intention. They're telling you this is what it's going to do. You accept that intention and you accept that suggestion, and you take the sugar pill and you believe that something outside of yourself is healing you. It's always been something within you. So the bioscan is designed to give you the most powerful intention that you will ever have on this planet. And knowing exactly what's going on in your arteries, in your brain. You know how many people we've helped to avoid heart attacks and strokes because we saw it coming on the bioscan? Imagine knowing that a hurricane is coming 2 years before it gets to your place. What do you have time to do? Put the house up list the house, start looking around, you know, people are like, well, why are you moving? Well, because there's a hurricane coming. They don't believe you because there may not have been hurricanes in years. Oh, we ain't had a hurricane in 6 years. What are you talking about? That's the same thing that happened to Noah, right? Noah had the ability to see what was coming. The reason I'm saying this is because we lost the ability to have the premonitions of the future. We lost it. So guess what? We're in harm's way and we don't know how to get out of harm's way. The whole detoxification process, the flat belly cleanse, age reversal process is to get you back to your gifts, to your divinity, so that you can know what's coming before the rest of the world knows what's coming. Let's move on. Once we can understand and manage the ways in which our bodies generate harmful molecules, which are major factors, we will be able to reach out and grasp what? Who wants to live to be 120? Wait, slow up. I didn't see enough hands. Let me ask this again. Who wants to live to be 120? Now, let me ask this question. For the person that didn't raise their hand, why wouldn't you?
You just say it again.
Okay, he said he wants to live longer. Now he's in a whole different generation. You see, he's the Joshua generation. He doesn't understand living a short life because he's not even on that trajectory anymore. So what I had to do is I had to break the bloodline curse by now giving my offsprings a new idea. Meat does not make you manly. We know that at the age of 60. So now I'm gonna ask the person who don't want to live to be 120, why wouldn't you not want to live to, or shall I say, why would a person not want to live that long?
If you're just talking about chronic disease, no. But if everything else is up to par, yes.
Got you. And that's exactly what I suspected. If you ask the average person if you want to live to be 120, immediately there's a picture that pops in their head. What does that picture look like? Old, decrepit, somebody rolling you over and wiping your ass. You don't want nobody else to wipe your ass. You don't want that. You don't want people to have to be feeding you. In other words, you're going back to being a baby.
Yeah.
That's why people don't want to live that long. They'd rather die than to live to be 120 and degenerate like that. But what I'm saying is this: the new paradigm gives you a new picture in your mind. Why am I running track and field at the college level? Because I'm trying to give you a new image of aging. God has called me to do this, to give you a new paradigm, a new image of what it means to get older. If I'm jumping on a line with kids that are 30 years younger than me, that means I'm no longer connected to what? Chronological time. What is chronological time? That's the rotation of the earth, what? Around the sun. How long does that take? Weren't you taught that every 365 days from the time you came into this world that you're getting a year older? How many times have you told yourself that you've gotten a year older? Too many. Most of us did. Most of us here sitting here said it at least 21 times. It don't take that long for you to download that into your subconscious. Death and life is where? And you've told yourself over 20 times you're getting old. Do you think that your body is not listening to that? You're collectively aging yourself. Not only that, but you're helping the process by eating the bad foods. So what's really the comparison? Chronological time as it continues to move with the accumulation of waste and toxins. That's the parallel. That's what makes it look like you're getting older. Remember, what did I tell you? How long can you live in one fell swoop? 10 to 15 years? So what that means is that we've been connected to chronological time, and that's running our program that's causing us to age and look the way we do. When you disconnect from chronological time with the bioscan disconnects you, because guess what? Now you're receiving new information. When you disconnect from chronological time and you connect to biological time, chronological time has no more power over you. I reset my body every 12 months, sometimes twice a year. That means I don't age anymore past 12 months. I don't age anymore sometimes past 6 months. That means that it doesn't matter anymore how many times the earth circles the sun. If it circles it 100 times and I'm still connected to biological time, am I going to look like I'm 100? Think about it. If I'm still connected to biological time and it rotates 300 times around the sun, am I going to look like I'm 300? No, because I'm no longer connected to that paradigm. I have new information in my body, and my body is no longer being tricked. That's why we're going back to the days of everlasting life. We are here, y'all. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. Did you know that? How many would like to see death gone? Yeah. Well, I don't see no hands. How many people would like to see death gone? That's what I'm saying. Now, here's your challenge. Here's your challenge. What are you going to do with all that time? Have you thought about that? You know why you haven't thought about that?
If no one dies, then
Say it. Say it.
It would be overcrowded.
I knew she was going to say something like that. Well, how much land do we actually have in Africa? We got enough land in Africa to handle everybody on the planet and still have more room for another billion of people. We have a more than enough space.
The challenge is if you get this information, you're not going to worry about everybody. They still will eat their
Right. Who knows their blood type in here? You know your blood type? Who's blood type B? B?
Be positive.
B positive. Who's blood type A?
A positive.
Okay. So we didn't know that blood type B considers poultry as poison to the system. So if you've been blood type B all your life, which you have, and you love chicken, you didn't know that chicken was going to create more degeneration in your body and much faster. You didn't know that. So when people come to us with health issues, let's take, for instance, my frat brother, Willie Mooney, blood type B, right? What was your health challenge in life? What was the main one? Cancer. In general is leukemia. And I'm just helping. I'm not trying to put you out here. I just want people to understand that where you were based upon what you didn't understand. You had no idea that you was working on your own cancer. You had no idea. We have no idea that we're earning the conditions that we have. Because if we knew we were earning it, guess what? We would turn it around. Thank you. So what I'm saying is this. It's important to know your blood type now. It's important to detox your body. There's no other way around this. We have to go back to the garden. We have to go back. We have to turn back to God. We've trusted man's medicine, but let God be true and every man a liar. Man's medicine doesn't work for us. That's why it's the third leading cause of death in America. I don't know if you guys were here when I said that, but iatrogenic is the third leading cause of death in America. Iatrogenic is death from medical error and medical treatment. If we don't create another system, we're doomed. We're reaching a point where we will reach infertility. That means that it won't matter about a crowd on the earth because we won't be able to produce anymore.
Can you tell me a little something about A plus?
A plus. You don't want to know about A plus.
Yeah.
If you're a meat eater, you don't want to know about A because A's thrive on a vegetarian diet. They don't even have the stomach acid anymore to break down the protein like blood type O. Blood type O was on the scene first. And then as we started to migrate throughout the world following livestock, guess what? Blood type A's went back to agriculture. So if you're blood type A and you've been eating meat a lot throughout your life, that's the reason you're seeing more degeneration. So what happens when a person does the cleanse, does blood type A? Man, they do amazing on the cleanse because their body has been crying out for that for a long time. Okay? Question?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make a statement on the power screen here.
Mm-hmm.
You had somebody named Rory Friedman
Mm-hmm.
and Tim Barnoan
Mm-hmm.
talking about you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
That is attributed to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dick Gregory, and Althea Fulton. They told us that a long time ago.
Right.
People are. We must bear witness to our people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you were talking about epigenetics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, generational epigenetics.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention that too.
No, I appreciate it. He's right. You are what you eat. He's attributed to Nation of Islam, which they talked about that for many years. This is why it's hard during the cleanse. It's hard during the cleanse in that first week because you are what you eat. So that means that the animal protein is in your DNA. That's why in order to overcome the meat, you have to flush it out of your system. You can't use willpower because you are animal protein. And that's one of the reasons why the aggressiveness in our children, the violence, is from the base nature of an animal instinct. Vegans aren't out there killing people because they don't even want to kill animals. I don't even want to kill insects. It's the meat eaters that are out there killing people. I hate to say this, but that's the truth. If you want to solve violence, get everybody off the meat. That's it. You ain't got to do all that stuff. Just get everybody off the meat, and we will love so much ourselves and each other, you won't have to worry about violence. Okay? Researchers have finally identified one of the most important contributors to heart disease, wrinkles, cancer. How many people have been dealing with arthritis? Many of the other problems associated with getting old. We rust. Remember what I said? Ironically, the same air that gives us life is what causes metal to rust, fruit to turn brown, and our body's cells to break down and age. We rust. Did you know this? Did you know this? The same air you're breathing causes metal to rust and apples to turn brown, right? You know how if you bite into an apple, if you leave that apple there for a while, what is it going to do? Let's do an experiment. Let's take an apple, a nice big juicy apple, and let's cut it in half. Let's take 2 of those halves. Let's leave them out for, let's say, 4 hours. But before we do that, let's take one of those halves, cut a lemon, squeeze the lemon over one of those apples. When you come back, only one of those apples is going to be brown. And it's not the one with the lemon juice. The lemon juice acts as a protectant antioxidant for the oxygen in the air. In other words, it protects the apple from free radical damage. In your body, when you're breathing, wouldn't that kind of happen inside your body as well? Why is it not causing major damage in your body? The same air you breathe. Because of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. Those are naturally occurring antioxidants. That means that God knew that the air you was breathing was bad for your health. The air you're breathing is bad for your health. I know this sounds crazy, don't it? But this is where you get, that's why you're here, because you need to get this type of information that we've never gotten before. Do you know that each one of us every day gets a handful of cancer cells in our body? Every day, each one of us gets a handful of cancer cells in our body. You can't get away from cancer. You can't. I don't care who you are. It's natural. The question is, why do we have to have cancer cells in our body? Why do we have to get cancer cells? Well, because of the air we're breathing. It will get past at some point. It will cause what we call cellular mutation. When the cells mutate, they call them cancerous. Now, if you have a strong immune system, then your immune system will destroy those cells before they can proliferate and become a tumor. Your body has been fighting cancer all your life. Did you know that? Your body has been fighting cancer all its life. What happens from ages 18 to 40 that will cause your body to start developing tumors of cancer? Your immune system starts weakening. When your immune system weakens, what it was knocking out every day, guess what? It's not knocking out every day. Now they're starting to gain some momentum. Well, what about the diet? Well, if you're not eating your antioxidants, guess what? You're depleting your vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. So now you don't even have the protection anymore. So by the time you turn 40, 45, 50, what was easy in your teens is not as easy anymore by your body. That means that now your body is starting to proliferate more cancer cells because you have a weakened immune system, and you also have, right, Jet Li. And you also have, because of the diet, you also have less vitamins and minerals. If you've done a scan, you know where you're deficient, what vitamins you're deficient in, you know which vitamins and minerals you're deficient in, and now you understand what you need to correct. Any one deficiency of mineral or vitamin can lead to a weakened immune system. So if your immune system is weakened, I'm not going to give you chemo and radiation to fight the cancer. Isn't that what we're doing? The only cure to cancer is your immune system. That's the only cure. God did not make a mistake. We have not been good stewards over what he gave us. And if we're not good stewards over it, then yeah, we're going to get that cancer. That's why cancer is now number 2. The only reason heart disease and cancer is number 2 is because of ignorance, nothing else. What we know now is how to reverse that whole process. Look at that. Antioxidants, fruits, vegetables. That's how we do it. Fruits and vegetables are loaded with plant compounds called phytonutrients, which also have antioxidants abilities. Some phytonutrients have been shown to disable cancer-causing substance. Why did God give us fruits and vegetables in the beginning? Because he knew that the air would be detrimental to our body if we didn't keep our vitamins, antioxidants, and minerals on point. When we started eating meat, we started getting away from all the natural stuff, and meat became our normal substance. It made our body more acidic. Three of the strongest antioxidants and beta carotene, vitamin C, vitamin E. So beta carotene, basically vitamin A, is the same thing I told you. The mnemonic I use is ACE, ACE. Each of these nutrients have been shown to be very effective against age-related illnesses such as cancer and heart disease, which is actually what? Number 1 and number 2. What am I telling you? In order to correct any issue in your body, cancer is not a death threat anymore. Heart disease is not a death threat. We can turn it around. We can actually reverse it now. It's best to get them through foods like fruits and vegetables, where they exist in proportions nature intended. So like a lot of times, like sugar, fruits have sugar in it, but it's natural sugar. So your body can process that better. The unnatural sugar, the table sugar, your body doesn't process well. In fact, it actually weakens your immune system. So if you want something sweet, get you a fruit. Just don't eat it after 5 o'clock when it starts getting dark. Eating sugar at night. Let me go with this. When you eat sugar at night, your body is gonna produce insulin in order to move the sugar into the cells. If you're not active, then that body has to do something with the insulin that it just created. It's gonna put it in fat tissue. So it's gonna create fat at night in order to store the insulin because you didn't use it. So do yourself a favor and stop eating sweets at night. You eat sweets in the daytime when you're active. At nighttime, vegetables. Fruit builds you up, vegetables clean you out. Fruits in the morning, vegetables in the evening. If you develop that, the weight will come right on off without a problem. In a study at a University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, researchers found that people got the most glutathione antioxidant, a phytonutrient found in avocados, fruit, winter squash, oranges, tomatoes, potatoes, had lowered their blood pressure, lowered their cholesterol, and helped them to maintain healthier weights than the people who got the least. Detoxification. This is what this process is about. But guess what? Detoxification is the most energy consuming process in the body. This is the reason why we have to flood the body with nutrition. Don't just go get a liver cleanse or a kidney cleanse, because as soon as you start detoxing the body, you're going to start zapping your energy. Your body needs vitamins and minerals to detoxify the body. So if you're just detoxing without juicing, then you're going to throw your body into a deficiency. You may clean out the liver and you may clean out the kidneys, but now you're even in a greater deficiency than you were before you started. So our program is about flooding the body with nutrition and cleaning out the gut at the same time. It's a simultaneous process. That's why you need a juice extractor, not a blender, not a bullet, not a ninja. A lot of times we get there, right? Well, I got a blender, I got a bullet. Now that's not sufficient, because when you pulverize everything, you have to wait on what? Gut digestion. But if you liquefy it, guess what? It's dissolving, it's absorbing before it even gets to your gut. You understand? So you want to be absorbing it way before it gets down there. The process of deep tissue detoxification is to help repair the imbalance of the mind, body, and the spirit by breaking up and removing stored toxins from the organs and deep tissue and cells, deep cell tissue, because disease, did you know this, starts in the spirit. It is vital to treat each area holistically to assure a natural and permanent lifestyle change. Now, people don't understand, why would it begin in the spirit? And what I mean by spirit, I mean the energetic level. It's not always what you're eating that makes you sick. Sometimes it's what's eating at you. Are you guys good at managing stress? You see, anger, your negative emotions. Can someone outside of you piss you off? Can someone outside of you make you angry, make you sad, depressed? If they can, they have more control over you than you have over yourself. It's been proven that negative emotions create negative imbalance in the body. And let me explain why. This is important. Stress. How many people have mild stress in their life? Raise show of hands. Mild stress. How many people have moderate stress? How many people have severe stress? And be honest. The scan shows you. Did you know that? The scan will show you if you stress. You may not even know you stressed until you sit down and be like, oh, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm handling stuff. And then you see on there all red when it comes to vascularization. Like, no, you ain't handling nothing. You about to die.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The scan machine, technology, who created that and how long has it been?
Oh man, that's good. The technology has been around since the 80s. They just been keeping it from you.
Right,
I was a spook who sat by the door.
go ahead.
And when I saw it, I brought it to our people.
Go ahead.
And I'm being serious about that. I had to go into another community to get the bioscan. But it was made in China. So they're a little bit ahead when it comes to, technology. So they partnered science with technology, and then they came up with the bioscan. So the bioscan, let me explain it real quick. The bioscan, it measures the electromagnetic frequency of cell division. Every time cells divide, they give off a frequency. It's able to measure that frequency and plot where you are based upon where you should be. Once we know what's going on in the tissue and the cells, then we understand where your body is storing waste and toxicity. Once we know where then now we know what's causing the high blood pressure. Now we know what's causing the heart disease. Now we know what's causing the diabetes. Heck, now we know what's causing the cancer. So we're an industry of eradicating the cause, not treating the symptoms. You see? We want to address the cause of the condition, the root cause, because if you address the root cause, you don't need medication anymore. In fact, medication wasn't really working. It was only an illusion that you were stabilized. Medication is toxic. It's made in Abbott Laboratory.
Pharmacy by rule is poison. So you have to do it.
Oh, right. He's talking about the actual meaning of pharmacy. And then let me say this, you guys. I want you to know that I'm not going to step on the toes of the healthcare industry, because guess what? We do kind of need them a little bit. If you break a leg, you got a trauma or an acute emergency, then get to the ER, get it stabilized, okay? But once you get it stabilized, call Melissa, tell her you need a bioscan so you can find out, why did I have that emergency? Once I found out why I had an emergency, then you start to cleanse. And guess what? Whatever medicine they put you on to stabilize you, you come right on off after 3 weeks. That's the best system, right? Did you have that type of system when you were born into this world? No, you didn't. You only had one system, and that was the medical system. You treated your heart disease with medicine, pharmaceutical medicine. You treated your diabetes with pharmaceutical medicine. You treated your high blood pressure with pharmaceutical medicine. But let me tell you this. The diseases are caused by toxicity in the body. If you're treating an issue caused by toxicity with more toxicity, is that going to get you where you want to be?
No.
That's what I'm trying to get you. We're reasoning together. Once we reason together and this all makes sense, spread the word. Because this is how we're going to save our people. The politicians ain't going to do it. The Europeans aren't going to do it. We have to do this. Okay? You can avoid many common viruses, infections, lose weight as our body rids itself of toxins and fats, fight back against life-threatening diseases, avoid many of the factors that causes rapid cell deterioration, thus slow down the aging process. Live your best life. Hey, don't wait until a crisis. Well, that's easier said than done, right? Because we were taught to what? Wait for the crisis. When I started doing the scan, you know what I found out? I realized that we're all waiting on a crisis. We're not doing nothing until we're so close to that crisis, until we have to do something. In other words, we were taught to procrastinate on our health. And we're all doing the same thing, procrastinating. And we were taught by our parents, hey, don't procrastinate, don't procrastinate. But when it comes to our health, we're procrastinating. This is why there has to be two systems now. We have what's called now the crisis care system. That's the system we were all born into: crisis care, critical care, urgent care, immediate care, emergency care, right? Those sound familiar? We're branching off. We're creating holistic health care. Now you have two branches. Guess what I just gave you back? Your free will. You didn't know your free will was taken away from you. God didn't take it away. Man took it away. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but the system was built on corruption.
Yes.
But before you ask question, you had a question back there. You remember it? You don't want to say it now? I apologize. So anyway, the healthiest human have 100% reserved energy. Medical doctors can first recognize sickness at 30. What does that mean? Medical doctors can recognize sickness at 30%. That means 70% of your energy is gone. Now you understand why that's a crisis care system? Now you understand why when a person is diagnosed with cancer, it's the 3rd and 4th stage, not the 1st or the 2nd?
Yeah.
You get it now? Their equipment is calibrated at trauma level. That means that they don't even want to see anything until you're about 30% dead, close to 30%. Now, is that intentional? I don't know. It's profitable, so maybe it is intentional. You see? So what I'm saying is this: the bioscan can ascertain the pathology of disease down to 10 cells. That means we can see things before you have any symptoms, we can see what's coming. I want to correct things while I'm feeling good, because there's no stress. As soon as you get that cancer diagnosis, what are you feeling? Stress. Is that going to make the situation better?
No.
Not at all. Stress is good when it's used properly. Let me say it again, Phyllis. Stress is good when it's used properly. Human beings don't use it properly. Animals do. If an animal is in the wild and he's grazing and this lion is trying to sneak up on him, he looks up, fight or flight kicks in. He needs that stress right now because it's going to send all the energy from his visceral organs to his arms and his legs. Why? So he can get out of there. And guess what? The lion has to sneak up on him. You know why the lion has to sneak up on him? Because he's a meat eater. He don't have the endurance as a gazelle that's an herbivore. This is learning something on your way to learning something. That's why he has to sneak up on him. He don't have the endurance to outrun him. So if he don't sneak up on him and get a good burst, he's not going to catch him. Same thing now, human beings. Vegan athletes are performing better now than animal-based athletes, animal protein athletes. And this is the truth. They told me in 2011 I couldn't win the world championship because I didn't eat meat. They told me this. And the person who was leading that charge, unfortunately, had a stroke several years later. You see how the universe works? God will validate something right before your face just to make you know that you're doing things right. So anyway, we need to get out of crisis care and get into disease prevention. What we're setting up here is disease prevention. Everybody needs it on the planet. So you have literally 8 billion customers out there that we need to get to. So money is not an issue. Wealth is not an issue here. You just got to learn. We should be having wellness classes just like that, which we do, but we have it online. You guys okay online? So we have classes every month, wellness coaches. Our goal is how many, Melissa? How many coaches we trying to produce? At least 100,000 million. You know why we need that? Because we're losing 1 million people a year from cancer and heart disease. If we had 100,000 people, how many people could each one of them people have a year to save their lives? About 10 people per 100,000. Yeah, about 10 people. We still don't have enough because that's just cancer and heart disease. We got diabetes. We got all type of stuff, respiratory issues. So we got a lot of work to do. But first, you want to save yourself.